Amit sir, Gautam sir, Adil sir, Tillotama, a huge congratulations to all of you for the UK premiere of Raahgir at the UK Asian Film Festival this year. So firstly, a warm welcome to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. So I think
Thank you.
Gautam,
Yeah.
so I think Gautam sir, my first question is to you actually. I mean, obviously this year the festival is themed as Ray of Hope, which is obviously a special ode to Satyajit Ray, the legendary filmmaker himself. In what way has Satyajit Ray cinema inspired you as a filmmaker?
Well, we are all happy that on the 26th there will be a physical screening, and that's the best inspiration for filmmakers. When you conceive film for the large screen, you plan the time and space for a large screen, plan it for a vista, and then you place your characters in that landscape. You want to see them on a large screen, and really, it's a great opportunity, and we are all very honored that the festival is opening with our film Raahgir, the Wayfarer, and that's the best inspiration for a filmmaker, that you are showing your film physically to the audience, and also in my favorite theater on the Bank of Ten. I've been there several times. My film, it's wonderful. Yeah, great.
Anuj, Satyajit Ray, and not only his, I mean, his writings, his novels, his detective stories, his sketches, it had been a great part of our artistic upbringing. The way the stories that he decided to tell, the choice of the subject, the way that he would be able to catch the innocence of characters, the subtleties, the nuances, the layers, and the photographically, and he was a painter himself. So in so many ways, I think our generation is pretty blessed to have great filmmakers like Satyajit Ray, and Tapan Sinha is one of my most favorite filmmakers. We are very blessed, and also that he is a trailblazer in so many ways for filmmakers like very, very, very well known. I mean, I'm talking about Gautam Da as well. And to be able to see great actors working with him, such and great performances, which had been guided and directed by Satyajit Ray, also inspired us to be more real, and to go deeper into the psychological aspect of the character. So I can't, probably want us to write a book on it, how Satyajit Ray has inspired all of us.
Definitely, I absolutely no, very, very well said, and I think that is the beauty of his cinema, and I think it's quite befitting as well that we've got a film like Raahgir actually to open the film festival as well this year. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. Now, of course, the film highlights the importance of human relations and how humanity can survive even in the most adverse and difficult situations. So I think Gautam sir and Amit sir, I'd like to pose these two questions to you actually. Where did the idea for this film develop from?
To be honest, Raja film, which I did because I was very much influenced by Gautam Das film Par. I saw the film, when I was a teenager. The film's impact was such that I was unable to come out of it for many days. And some elements remained with me forever. I know Gautam Da, for more than 18 years. And I wanted to collaborate with him for a long time, but I never rushed this collaboration, I waited for something to come my way. And when I become more mature to understand cinema, So I and Gautam Da basically were planning one Bengali film. But one fine day he called me and he narrated this wonderful story to me. I could very easily, relate the story with, Par. So I was convinced immediately. that I'm going to do it. But the only thing is, Gautam da wanted to shoot in monsoons, which was just 40 to 45 days away. But I took it as a challenge that, why not, when I'm getting an opportunity to work with someone, I have always thought of. So I took the challenge, and it happened. And with efforts of everyone, the directorial team, the production team, and the team at my end, we were able to make it, and that is how Raahgir happened. Correct, Gautam da?
Absolutely, and thanks for supporting this project in such a short time, because I was very much concerned in this new millennium that slowly we are becoming extremely inhuman and selfish. It's a very strange situation, the technology and the market economy, fundamentalism, all together messed up our society, and we were so selfish, and then I thought, let me make a film on humanity. And I think the film is extremely relevant now when COVID-19 has completely destroyed togetherness, interdependence. That's a prime thing of human race. Every atom is interdependent. So are we. So it's very important and relevant now that you have to extend help to others. You have to bring love and compassion instead of anger and this terrible, complacency for everything. That's why we thought of making the film, and I think it's a very important film about humanity. I don't know how great film, it's a good film, but the content and the attitude, and of course my characters, two of them are here. Neeraj is not unfortunately here, but they are so wonderful, unbelievable. Because it's a kind of teamwork, fantastic teamwork, and we had really 2 weeks to prepare, and we were planning the whole thing according to AccuWeather focused. Now it is focused much better than before, and it was a very difficult project, and we could wind up and manage to shoot everything in how many? In 18 days or so. So it was itself a journey for all of us. Anyway, and Wayfarer is important because you have to extend. Now you have to extend helping hand to others.
Yeah.
To save humanity.
Absolutely, and I'm going to use that actually as a way to segue and bring Tillotama and Adil sir into the equation too. I think it'll be wonderful to kind of know your experiences of you both actually as actors to work on this film, because it's such a heartfelt, simple film, but yet such a soulful movie. It's got its heart and soul at the right place. So for you both, I think to play the characters that you did, what were the main reference points for you as actors? I think Tillotama, will begin with you for this.
What was my main reference point? Like always, it's the script, and that's always and when you're working with somebody, and Goutam da, I wouldn't have done the film if it wasn't for him. I've grown up watching his films, and he's very, very charming. And if it was anyone else telling me, okay, in 45 days you have to learn a dialect, and we are going to do a film, and it's going to be in the range, and the script will come, and don't worry, you will learn the dialect. No, I won't learn the dialect. I take a long time, because I'm a very slow learner, and I'm very nervous by nature, and this is not how I work. And I had all my reasons ready, but he started laughing, and there's such a ring sound of confidence in his voice, and a sense of real playfulness. I thought he was maybe like, he'd call me the next day and say, I was just joking. I was just thinking whether you would fall for it or not. So I thought it was some kind of test, saying yes to him on that call. And I'm very glad I did, because I more than the film, for me, he epitomizes a certain kind of playfulness and humanity that I feel humanity really needs. He's an extremely experienced director, we all know, but to have such a childlike almost childlike approach to his work, despite all the years. Often experience can become this weight and can become turned very easily into arrogance. And knowing too much can, after some time, it's so boring to hang out with people who know everything, because you are just learning and you're a beginner. And but I was just so amazed by his sense of play, and and it's more than his filmography, his sense of play and the sense of challenging almost the elements, and the idea of how much time it requires to prep for a film, his sense of and I think his sense of trust in all of us was really what drew me in. So the reference point for me has always been the director's anchor, and I hadn't even met Amit. Adil I know, Neeraj I know. I was like, a crazy director must have an even crazier producer to back this in such a short time. But these are all very good signs, in many ways, because yes, I trusted him.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
For me, it was Gautam Da for sure. And then I heard about Tillotama will be there. Neeraj, I'm a big fan of his work. And Tillotama, we are friends since 2002, 2003. And I read the script, and it was the theme, and of course the plot, and the way he has laid it out. It's so it spoke so much to my heart. I die to work in scripts like that. You hardly get to work in films like that for various reasons, because such scripts are not being written, and even if it is written, it's not well written. And producers are not supporting them. And then when a person, a director of his stature comes in and asking you to act, it's like the wonderful expression in Hindi, "Sone pe suhaga," is
Right.
cherry on the cake. And you're like, wow, I'm going to be part of it. And also the role which I was asked to play, it brought back memories of my personal association with the people from that part of the world. In mid 90s, my teacher and I, we spent around 3.5 months staying in one of the remotest of villages in Bastar, where they, till then at least, they haven't seen cars or buses or money or matchboxes even.
Wow.
So it remained as ancient as it was even in mid 90s. So we dressed like them, and we went dressed in a sense like just a string on my hip and a loincloth. And we spent so many wonderful, and one of the most enriching and enlightening stage and time of my life that I have lived there. So and to be able to play one of them, but in an urban setting, and the struggle of coming out from that amazing ecosystem of their wisdom, justice system, and their idea of life and love and all that, and then everything has been taken away by us, by modern people, modern society, and they had been robbed of their land, they had been robbed of their culture, they had been robbed of everything that they hold dear to themselves.
Right.
And to be able to represent, and still they retain the one of the most valued human element, which is humanity, and which is empathy, which is love, which is respect. So why wouldn't I? I mean, I would do it, do anything for that. for the film. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, that was so wonderful to hear. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Adil sir. And I think Gautam sir, really love your vision for cinema. I think especially because of the film. I mean, I love the wide shots and the landscapes of the village as well. Even that rickety cart. You make everything within your frame come to life, and I'm such in awe of the way you make your cinema and present your stories. What determines these particular camera shots and the way you actually narrate a story? What drives you as a filmmaker in doing that?
Well, for this kind of film, when, we're working with some constraint with weather and all that, and also physically for the actor, it's a kind of a journey where you need effort. So that's why, I plan my script very carefully. Before the shooting started, actually, I did recce twice, planning the entire choreography, because it was already planned shots. Looks very spontaneous, like a documentary, but very planned shot. And as Adil said, in the script, each and every shot was written. Of course, we did a lot of improvisation because of the actors' input and all that. And atmosphere all around, the ambience all around. So, but it was a very planned script and choreographed in a way. But that is the secret of good filmmaking, that you plan things very carefully, but it should look natural and credible. Your characters should look credible. What is good acting and bad acting? Good acting is credible to the character. It's credible. Nathuni, Tillotama as Nathuni, and Adil as Lakua. They were looking real people. But they're perfect. They're very professional and skilled actors. But they were behaving. You must have seen the way in a short time Tillotama adapted the walking. Because these tribals, as Adil said, they were wonderful people, but we have destroyed them, destroyed their ethos, the culture, everything. So they're malnutrited. So, and Tillotama adopted that walking. I had given her certain hints. That's all, and then, she adopted. And when you adopt anything inside, and then the terrain helps you. When you walk through the terrain helps you. Even for Adil, he's a very wonderful, skilled actor, but immediately got into the fun of the character, Lakua. Lakua, is a stranger. He moves around here and there. But these people, I tell you, also my experience in Bastar, in Maharashtra, in Jharkhand, in many places, in Northeast, the tribals, they know what is sustainable living. Right. They don't destroy things. They don't destroy nature. They are close to nature, very, very close to nature. That's why, they live with the rhythm of life. So I wanted my character to get that rhythm. And they got it. Oh, yeah. They got it, in my opinion. And I'm very proud that I could direct them.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And I think this is a very interesting point I would like to actually make here, because obviously the characters, the main characters in particular, they're those, like, which we've been mentioned, who have been pushed to the fringes of society, where basically a lot of their existence has in a way become, I guess it's become suppressed because of the modern sort of, world, the way things have actually been progressing in the world, but for them, they're still being stuck there. So I think for you as a filmmaker, Gautam sir, and of course, Tillotama and Adil sir, for you both as actors and as a director, I mean, how difficult was it for you to not, like, to actually humanize, their difficult lives, rather than actually glorify that whole poverty aspect? Because I think it's a very fine balance one has to have, right? So Gautam, so how did you make sure you had that balance? Do you think it's that whole exposure that you've had before to this milieu?
Well, Well. First of all, I don't accept the fact. Oh, they are poor people. What is poor people?
Absolutely.
Of course,
Yeah.
they are unprivileged. They are marginal people. Marginal. They who are marginal. They are weak.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, poverty is there, but that doesn't mean that poverty can kill your human feelings. Not always. Not always. That I really wanted to show that they are human beings, and they also suffer. They have to get their job, daily job. So if you must have seen in the film, there is a contradiction whether to help Neeraj and that the couple. There was a contradiction. Let's go. We lose our job, but finally they join the race for humanity. That's very, very important. And now during pandemic days, we realize it more and more deeply. I've been, during the pandemic days, I've been to the villages of West Bengal. Only in the second wave they were affected now, but I made a short film. I made a short film about the pandemic days, my experience. It's a short fiction. And in the village of Purulia, in the western part of West Bengal, they said we don't know what is COVID. We don't know.
Oh.
They didn't know what is COVID. But now, of course, during the second wave, they were also affected for various reasons. Again, the intrusion of outsiders during the elections in 8 phases, I presume, has really caused a lot of damage. However, I think this people has a tremendous strength, and they're survivors. They can survive, and they have this incredible endurance, and that you can see in the film. That I really wanted to show, the endurance of human being. One more thing, and you mentioned about the cart. The cart itself, the character in the film.
Yes.
And my producer Amit has kept the cart. Our idea was when we release the film, we put the cart at the theater. Anyway, still we are hoping for that.
Wow, you still have the card. That is awesome.
Yes, that's it.
I think whenever I come to India, I would like to have a look at this card, please. I want to.
Anyway, sorry. Please carry on.
No, but thank you so much for sharing that with us, Goutam sir. But I think Adil sir and Tillotama, I wanted to just gain your perspective as well on this question, because I said about the whole humanizing this human characters, right? So I think as actors as well, how much do you reflect on personal hardships or personal difficulties, especially with characters like you have in Raahgir? How much does that help you to bring alive that authenticity of the character?
I think that if we have to learn what it means by humanization or humanizing, we probably could learn from them.
Right.
The depth of the magnitude of being a larger human, which probably all the great masters of India and across the globe would envision where humanity could probably arrive at in far future, probably. I think they embody it, and there is no question of glorifying their poverty, as Goutam said very carefully, because they don't think they're poor. Because we have robbed them of their way of living life, which probably we measure their poverty in terms of how much money they have. They don't, like the tribe that I spent time with, they didn't have the concept of money at all. So there is no question of that they're poor in that sense. We made them poor by taking away the ground beneath them, taking away, trying to civilize them by helping them to wear saris. I was horrified when I climbed down 2 days of climbing down from the hills where I stayed with them, the first person I met, civilized person, so-called civilized person that I met, asked us where did we go, and we said that we went to a village up there, and he said, "Oh, they're backward people." So I was like, really, who are backward?
Mhm.
I said somewhere before as well, but I would like to say that the depth of knowledge about their understanding of the environment, probably the CEO or the president, whoever that is, of Greenpeace should come and learn from them. They are so wise. So definitely, there is no question of glorifying their to humanize them, or to glorify their poverty. No, for me, I was scared that would I be at all touch upon even this or scratch the surface of their state of being, which is so pure. Uh, I remember when the village chief used to smile, I felt healed as a person.
Wow.
That's the quality of humanity which thrived, and which is still probably thriving in them. So it is us who have to learn, how to be a human being, and what is the probably width and breadth and depth and height and magnitude of to be able to even fit in a little bit of it, the ocean of their humanity a little bit, will be a great education for actors as actors,
Mm.
and and a human being of society. Yeah.
Wonderfully put. Tillotama ma'am, would you like to add a few lines on that as well?
So, Anuj, like I feel like that about every character. It's our job as actors to, when we read a script and get a gift of a character to inhabit,
Yeah.
whether it's a person who has dubious, dubious moral compass, or someone who could be highly uh, arrogant, or like the various shades of life, right, and the various shades of human beings. I, as actors, we have to humanize everyone, whether they're in our world, whether they come under good, bad, or great, or as an actor, it's your job
Agree.
to to discover what is it about this character that makes them who they are. And it was the same process for me, for Nathuni. I didn't think about, oh, Nathuni's poor, I am not. Then I would be like, oh, there's so many characters I've played that are very far away from, who I am,
Right.
But
Right.
so I don't think it was any different than any other film in that regards for me. But yes, because there was a certain kind of quality to the experience. There was a physical journey in the film. It was not just sitting in your vanity van and coming out and taking some shot in a studio. It was actually traversing a real physical space with its vastness, which made you feel small in many ways. The topography, the weather, the rain, the fragility of your body, how weak I am. There were many things that it threw up for me, which actually made me, I think, if my understanding or appreciation of Nathuni as a fictional character was, the echoes of it are far deeper now. As I struggle with my ability to be resilient in the face of the storm that we are in,
Right.
so
Yeah.
these things don't make sense to me when I'm there. It's always in retrospect. When I was going through the film, I just found it so, are we shooting a film, or is it really a journey? Like, so often the lines would get blurred because you have been in water and you're wet for so many hours. But then you feel so silly to say that, oh, it's so hard. Oh, poor me.
Yeah.
How long do I have to be wet and act in the rain? You realize you're only playing this character for a few days. Like Goutam said, the entire film was in 18 days.
And
But you're representing the lives of people for whom this has been generational. This inequity has been generational.
absolutely.
And the journey they have to travel to get a glass of water is so long. So these things, in certain films, you distinguish your privilege and your sense of entitlement from the characters that you play. In
Right.
certain films, the line gets very blurry. And for me personally, while Goutam never glorified the poverty, in fact, like I said, the theme was really their magnanimity and their resilience. In play acting that, I found myself very inadequate. And that has its own, effect on you and what you do. And I really felt like, okay, for some time, I don't want to play characters that are so that have such a hard life, because I really felt like I actually want to. I have made I felt guilty that over the years I've played characters that are marginalized. I've played characters that are that have a much harder life than I do, and I've made money of it. And I never thought about it, these things then, because I thought that I'm doing my best, with all my sincerity. You get a gift of a character and you do your best in portraying that and humanizing it, and making it credible, like Goutam Das said. But I do remember after Raahgir, I felt something broke, for me, and I felt that I need some. I became very aware. I think I became very hyper aware, and then when you become slightly sensitive to the inequity, it makes you It made me very sad. It made me very angry also. That it's too much. Why does a person have to walk all day to get to work?
Yeah, I totally understand.
And I have to just act it out. You see the difference between Nathuni's life and my life. I haven't thought about it for other characters so much.
Right. Yeah.
So sometimes it happens, some things get under your skin.
It just shook you after reflecting back on it, and I think I kind of understand it. But thank you so much for sharing that with me. I think that's so wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And I think Amit Sakshi, I wanted to ask you as well, because after hearing Tillotama ma'am's account of playing Nathuni and experiencing the film, has there been a shift within you, a change within you as well, after experiencing and understanding the lives a lot more as well?
Of course. See, as I told you, after watching Goutam Das Par when I was, maybe a teenager, and after Goutam Das narrated me this story, I was, very much convinced immediately. And what I felt was, Raahgir is a journey of humanity, sacrifice, survival, fear, sorrow, happiness, and common for people like us, for them. And the things, the elements which were lost in me, I regained those elements. As told by Tillotama, it was, like a journey we lived there. And it changed me also as a human being. The element which I lost as a human being, I regained those elements within me. So I was altogether a different person after, completing the entire process of making Raahgir. And I feel, and I feel Raahgir should become, or I may say will become a movement, you'll see, which will grow as, the film grows. At the time when I watched Par, as I said, I was a teenager, but now the world has changed. But today you see how selfish the world has grown. In Raahgir also, three characters tries to endanger their own survival to someone, to help someone who is unknown to them. But in today's world, even after you earn what you deserve, you try to snatch the means of survival of others.
Yeah.
To convert them to their own luxury, to make it their own luxury. So you are not bothered. And these people, as rightly said by Goutam and Adil, they are not bothered who is rich and who is poor. In fact, we are poor who don't understand them. They're happy in their life. We have to understand from them that life is not about only earning money. It's about how you live, how what sacrifice, what is humanity. And if I'm sure as the film grows old, this will become a template for filmmakers, as well as a lot of messages are there in different layers. As I said, it's a journey of sacrifice, it's a journey of humanity, it's a journey of sorrow, happiness, everything is there. So people will surely learn out of it. Because within 20 days, when I have changed so much, I have regained so much which I had lost. So I'm sure when people will watch Raahgir, slowly, they will also want to change themselves.
Absolutely. That was very, very well summarized. And I think on a final note, before I let you all go, I think a lot of Gautam Das films, I mean, from what I've like interpreted from them, they profoundly follow the journeys of ordinary people amidst times of conflict in a quest for a better life of some sort. That's the sort of like instrumental themes that I've sort of got from the films as well. What has been your greatest quest in life, and what do you think will help you to achieve that, especially during this difficult time? Because I know it's a very testing time. So what would we say would be your quest at this moment in time? Gautam sir, would you like to go first?
The whole life, your whole life is a quest, and you enrich yourself every moment until the end of your last breath.
Right.
You learn. And coming back to Ray, I tell you, he was a learner, student till his last breath. You can't imagine how I had so many interaction with Ray. Fondly we called him Manikda, and he was a learner. You can't imagine, during Sadgati, he made a film based on a Premchand story. He couldn't write in Devanagari, in Hindi. Because I made a documentary on him. In his script book, famous, red book, he was practicing the writing in the Devanagari. Or like this, syllables and everything. He was practicing like a child. And at the end of the script, you find one full scene, complete scene, written in perfect Devanagari.
Wow.
Imagine.
Incredible.
Because, he was learning. He said, my God, we have to learn. So I think that's the quest of life. You have to learn from everybody. And with humility, with love and compassion, that, first of all, you have to admit yourself, you know very little. There are so many. You have to grow that appetite. That's why I feel, all of us, we grow, we learn, and we end up our life with some contribution to humanity. That's very, very important. And, in today's hardcore materialistic days, materialistic time, rather, we have to learn what is negative and positive emotion and how we can overcome negative emotions with positive ones. That's my quest all my life, all through my life. I think even for many of us.
Oh, wow.
No, I totally agree with Gautam. I think one of what makes him so charming is, the Picasso, somebody had told Picasso that, oh, even my child can paint like your paintings. Why are they so celebrated? Even my child can do. So he talked about there's a difference between being childlike and being childish, and I find it I find extremely inspiring to be around people who have lived so much and yet have eat every orange like it's the first orange they're eating, or to eat a strawberry like it's the first time you've never eaten a strawberry before. I see that sense of wonder in my mother, and I think that's what keeps her so young. She went off to Shanti Niketan in her 60s to learn painting. There she met when she was learning painting. She bumped into somebody who was a dancer, and she said, "Will you teach me how to dance?" Then she started learning Bharatanatyam,
Wow.
and she came back after, and now a whole house full of her paintings. So my husband jokes and says, "You're a very prolific painter," and But I think um, this kind of being a lifelong learner, like what Goutam Das said, is something that is very attractive and very aspirational. Right now, though, there's so much going on outside that the quest right now for me is every moment knowing that I have to choose between hope and despair. And the quest is, how can I be someone who can choose hope? Because there is people who have been in the margins of society have been let down by the establishment all the time because they never factor in. But now that we who are privileged and entitled are literally citizens, are helping each other out to get a hospital bed, to get oxygen, to get medicines, to get food. I feel now we are really feeling what it feels like to celebrate
Humanity.
our interconnectedness as human beings. But for me, really, I don't want to get on this because I can't articulate about something that I'm really going through right now. But I do feel my quest right now is I want to be that person because I feel I won't come out of this alive. If I don't know, it's this game I have to play every day. And I feel like yesterday I felt I played the game so well. I was so hopeful the whole day, even though there were hospital visits and many painful things I saw, but I was hopeful. Today I woke up with again feeling, that if I and this is my feeling, that if I have to make my life count for something, then I need to be able to conquer this despair that keeps coming, and especially when I see things outside. So right now for me, it's that decision to choose hope. So this is what I'm struggling with, and maybe it'll keep changing the quest. And
yeah. And you will be successful in that quest, Tillotama. Trust me, you will be.
One thing which it crossed my mind as Tillotama was saying that she has to choose every day, every moment, either hope or despair. So I remember I used to sort of arrogantly, I used to say that, hey, we are all actors. And if at the drop of a hat, we can cry and laugh when the director says action, why can't we say action to ourselves and laugh or hope? I used to say that, and because I managed to do that all my life, not every moment, but when there was, when there was crisis or situation when it was demanded. But now I realize that to cater to the demand of the director, action, and we have to cry or laugh or make love or be violent or brutal, which probably the art of acting probably had come so handy at this point of time. And the tools that we learned not only from acting teachers or as actors, but from also the reservoir of wisdom the great masters have left behind in India for us to choose and pick. It's just there for everybody to pick. But I'm saying it is, in spite of knowing all that, it is so difficult now. In spite of having all the informations, and I would dare to say knowledge even, it hasn't yet transformed into wisdom so strong that I would be able to say, oh, yeah, it's not a big deal. It is a very big deal to stay on the side of the hope, and not fall into despair, as Tillotama is saying. It's very difficult, Tillotama. I completely So the quest is the same quest, probably what Tillotama just, I reiterate that it is important for me right now just to stay expansive. I would use that word rather. Hope is just to stay expansive and not contract, not to shrink. Stay expansive at every moment. Very difficult, I must say. Very difficult.
Absolutely, yes, definitely. I think it's a very, very important thing as well that I think Tillotama ma'am and Adil sir, you've both conveyed to us, and thank you so much for that. Before I wrap up, Amit sir, would you like to add anything as well, maybe?
I also want to say that Amit, I didn't know he is actually my neighbor in Calcutta, and when he found out how he
Oh,
just reached out, helped me with my aged parents, and so Amit is quiet, but when I spoke to him, I really felt hope. I just want to acknowledge that. We never chatted much during the making of the film. I was so involved with my co-actors, and didn't have a chance to really interact with you much. And here we are, years later. Um,
No, thank you so much. But I always feel, as a human being, it is my duty. And I thank God if I'm capable, if I'm able to do something for someone. So, all said by everyone, I'm, learning from Gautam Da, Tillotama, and Adil. So, I'm, definitely want to be a very good human being. And as said, during the process of Raahgir, I have, tried to change myself for something better. I tried to make myself a better human being because, when I stayed with those people, I have really learned that we staying here in, urban areas, in city, we don't know what actually they are facing. So I definitely am a very changed human being after Raagi, and I also thank Gautam Da, for collaborating with me for making of such a beautiful film. And I hope as soon as this pandemic things gets over and situation become normal, I'll be able to show the film to the mass for which I'm eagerly waiting.
Absolutely, yes. And I'm really, really glad that a film like Raahgir is opening the UK Asian Film Festival, which is in its 23rd edition, and celebrating Ray of Hope. And I think there could be no better film than Raahgir to do that. So I am very, very glad and very excited that the film has opened the festival. And I just want to say a huge thank you, Tillotama ma'am, Adil sir, Amit sir, and Gautam sir for joining me today on Filme Shilmy for this interview. It really means a lot to have all your amazing, amazing talents together on one platform. So I'm really blessed and thankful. Thank you so much.
thank you. Thank you.
Finally, I would also like to thank to UKAFF jury and the organizers for selecting the film as an opening film, as it suits so well to their theme of 2021, Ray of Hope.
Yes, absolutely.
and Gautam Da being a ray of hope.
Absolutely.
Really, look at him. When he laughs, do you feel like yeah, Gautam Da, I think I should just call you to hear you laugh when I'm feeling it's incredible. It's a really this is, I think people who like this kind of hope is really a national treasure and a thing that thank you for working with me.
Oh, thank you.
That's why we have to laugh and hope over hope and see a lot of Chaplin. Chaplin.
Yes.
I consider him Shakespeare of cinema. You see Chaplin. That's incredible. So in this terrible time, in this desolating time, only thing is hope, and we have to work and inspire people for hoping for a better tomorrow.
Absolutely.
I'm so happy.
Absolutely.
I'm so happy to meet Tillotama, Anuj, Amit, Adil through this window. We actually very sorry we haven't met for a long, long time. Oh, good. Thank you, Anuj, for
staying in the same city. We are not able to meet Gautam Da.
Of meeting and sharing our ideas around our films and and in these terrible days, hope, and we shall overcome, I think.
We shall
Definitely.
overcome.
Hum honge kamyab, as the
Thank you so
beautiful
much,
saying
everyone.
goes. And I think on that note, though, a huge thank you once again, Tillotama ma'am, Amit sir, Gautam sir, and Adil sir for joining me.
Please
Thank
don't
you.
call me ma'am, but thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
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 everyone.
bye.